found the Laid Off Lads podcast, where three average guys from Central Florida discuss anything but average topics and have all the time to do it.
What is up, everybody?
Hey.
Did I get that right this time?
We got it right this time. We're back on track.
Welcome to the Laid Off Lads podcast. As always, I'm Ferris. We have Mr. Phil, and he's not wearing a hat this time. Thank you for not wearing a hat.
Yeah, because you made a mockery of it last time.
Duck Hunter.
No, I didn't make it. You made a mockery of the hat. I just made fun of the hat.
You told me to go get the hat.
I did. That was
then
brilliant.
you put it as the post.
Yes.
Making a mockery of me
Yes.
and my great hat choices because it's a golfing hat.
Yes. I will say you look better in that sort of stuff and like the off the wall, different color stuff. You look better in any of that, and it looks more normal on you than it would Boyce or I.
That's the kind of hat you want if you're on a deserted island and you need help from above to signal somebody. That hat. You just wear that, walk around the beach.
What is one thing you would bring on a deserted island?
One thing I would bring onto a deserted island?
If you had one thing you could bring to a deserted island.
Shit.
If you say Playboy, I'm going to slap you.
I was going to say a water filter.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a pretty good one. I was thinking
about
a Zippo.
Yeah, making them fire is a bitch.
Yeah.
But you
'Cause
can
then
live
you can
without
kinda
food for
figure
a long
everything else
time,
out.
but water is
Water, but you can
essential.
heat up the water, burn everything out, and then filter it that way if you need to.
Good point. Good point.
I mean, I'd bring a boat so I can get off the island.
Damn it.
Damn it, Phil. That's a good. I'd bring I don't know, a canoe, just so I can. Yeah.
What are you, Sacagawea? Canoe, get a speedboat.
That's true.
Man,
But
you
what if
always
it's
gotta
you
make
like?
life
But it's like multiple items within the speedboat. So what if it's so precise that you have to bring only one thing? I'd start off by a canoe. That's one. You know, doesn't have an engine bay. It doesn't have amenities. It is the one physical thing. That would be it.
But then you'd have to make paddles. Like, why wouldn't
But
you
you
bring
can cut down
engines?
trees
You
and
bring
crap
a
like that. You
building.
can use
I'm
a
going to get through the waves. You saw, what was that movie with Tom Hanks?
Castaway.
Yeah, I couldn't even get past those waves.
Yeah, but where at we're talking about? Like, if you're like lost on a desert island in like the Caribbean islands, like it's gonna be smooth there for a bit.
Well, on one side of the Caribbean, it's smooth, and the other side, it's rough.
Mm.
On the islands.
True. Go
Well, we
pride.
know you can sail to Cuba to America in a homemade raft, so that's feasible.
Well, that's
in
true.
theory. Sorry. Off topic again.
We already went to tangent zone like really quick.
Things just pop up in my head. I can't help it.
Wow. No, that's a good topic discussion. I think after the pod, you should probably put that up on the social. That's like a poll. You know, you can type in your response.
Okay.
I like it.
Any cool you guys saw this week?
This was the response last week.
Which
Silence.
we might have to change our first segment. We've changed it a few times. We're still experimenting. We're only what is this? Lucky number 13 episodes in.
13.
So go figure. We're probably going to have to change up that first segment a little bit because honestly, the cool segment sounds good, and you know, if we were more in tune to other things, but right now you turn on the news, it's sad. It's sad, man.
I mean, people are looting a lot of cool.
Yeah, but it's caused by sad, horrific things that happen, and people dying. They're pulling vaccines. Like it's just like what is going on?
If you loot a Target, what's the one thing that you're bringing out?
No. Not what's the one thing? What's the one cool thing that you're bringing out? Does that make sense?
It does.
I don't know, because usually when I go in there, I head straight for the clearance section. So this time it's free range.
Yeah.
I actually have something in my closet that on a random Target trip that you just come out with that you probably won't ever use. Can you guys guess what that is?
Can I get a hint?
Repeat the question.
It's a toy. So one time,
No, they don't sell those at Target.
No.
There it is. Cheers. One time we went to Target and just a random trip and just let's buy something and just leave. It's sitting in my closet unopened. We did not do a thing with it.
Legos.
No.
Ooh.
Boys?
The hell would you buy?
This is right up your alley because you have a lot of it in your home.
In some sort of weapon, I would imagine.
Yeah, there it is.
Nerf
Hold
gun.
on.
Yeah. Guess now who gets up and leaves? Now guess. Mm-hmm. Nobody says about him.
He's gone. Host my ass. I might have that one.
Dart Zone Blitzfire. And if you notice, I don't know if I can try to
80
this.
feet.
It still has the receipt.
Still
It's still in here because we never used it. It survived like 2 different moves into new homes, and it just sits in my closet for no apparent reason. So like next year for Christmas, I'll probably just give it away for Toys to Tots, but then I won't be able to because they'll be like, oh no, it's a gun and you're promoting violence. You're an asshole.
Oh,
So
get the
take it back. And
My birthday's at the end of May.
Hey, I know what you're getting.
Dart up the ass.
Start up the ass.
And it's like a pointless thing too. Like, why the hell did I spend $12.99 on this?
Were you drinking?
It's possible.
That's one of those purchases that you get when you drink and then you wake up and you're like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Just
And
sits in the closet.
what was the date of purchase on it?
Never shop when you're drunk and never go grocery shopping when you're high.
Yeah, true.
Good rule of thumb.
Holy crap! No. Oh, I thought this was almost a year to the day. We're one day off this being a year to the day. This
Damn.
was bought 4/13/2020.
Interesting.
It was pretty brave to go into a Target during that time. Peak COVID.
Oh,
Hype.
true.
Yeah,
He said,
they
"Fuck the
were
pandemic, we're
essential
going to buy."
business. They were
What is essential about a Nerf gun?
Well, there's nothing essential about the product that I bought, but the Target that I went to sold food and bath items, and those, it's a Target.
Dude, I'll give you $20 if you shut off all the lights when Ariana gets home and peg her with a dart
Ooh.
and record it
Well, she
successfully.
She would see it coming. She would know something's up.
I've
And I'm
seen
not gonna be-
videos.
when she gets home tonight. So
Oh, that's I've seen videos of like wives that will put a note on the front door and like leave a Nerf gun at the front door and say, "I'm hiding somewhere."
let's go. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
let's do wifey
But-
material.
I don't know. That would be probably something random and cool that I would buy at Target if I just randomly walked in there. I mean,
Yeah, but that's
What
not
would you
looting.
get?
What would
No.
you get if you looted it
Oh,
without
You never have enough
self-incriminating
TVs.
yourself?
I'll probably get another TV.
no.
Our upstairs TV is a plasma.
It's TVs. No, TVs now are so freaking cheap.
Yeah.
That and you'd throw out your back anyways.
You would. I would go for something Apple related. That's
Of
a
course you would.
better well, no, think about it. It's a higher resale value.
Good
It's
point.
popular. It's a name brand. It's not a TV. You can get a dime a dozen for Hitachi. I don't know all the TV brands. Samsung, all of those. They're all in the same price range. They're like all under $1,000 now. Now you just look for like an extra mega sale deal on Black Friday.
Yeah.
That's
I haven't been
that's the
inside
time
a
to get it.
Target in years.
No,
Probably 2 years.
Oh, I love a good
are
Target.
you a Walmart guy? You Costco guy?
I don't.
You're an
Sure.
Amazon guy.
No, I don't. Yeah. Anything I need is Amazon. Mary does the grocery shopping, so I never step foot in Publix or Target or.
You're one of those.
I'm a
guys.
simple person. I'm very
Oh.
simple. I don't have a lot of needs and necessities when it's my birthday or if it's Christmas. What do you want? If I needed it, I'd have it. I'm a
Sure.
simple guy.
And that's why you're difficult. You're like my pop. Like that man makes so much money, he can buy anything.
But I don't
What am
have
I gonna
need.
give him?
I'm not the kind of guy who's got to have gadgets and all sorts of crazy expensive things. It's just I'm simple. I need what I need to survive, and I'm cool.
So what's top
Save
of
up
your
my
wish
money.
list? If you want a gift like from your kid, what do you want?
No
Other
clue.
than a morning hug.
No clue. Yeah, I get stumped every time that comes up, my birthday or Christmas, and I've got nothing to give. It's surprised me because I don't need anything.
You seem like you would be like you're more. I think you and I are more aligned with that. It's not necessarily I don't need a physical item or I don't need anything like that. But if all of a sudden, Mary showed up and there's 2 tickets on the 50-yard line to see the Eagles play the Bucks in December, like
But she
you're
did get
fucking
me.
stoked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like you're stoked. It's not something that you would have thought of yourself, or maybe you did, but you're like, all right, I don't want to splurge the hundreds of dollars it takes to get that. I mean, I don't need that.
She did get me tickets one time to see the Phillies play up in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Flew us up there. We got like club seats and all that. I got a little teary-eyed with that because I was like, damn, that's good.
That's wifey material, man.
Yeah, man.
Women, if you're out there, take notes.
Yeah.
Wifey material.
Literally, I was like, holy this is amazing. It's a good time.
I wouldn't know. So,
Well,
Oh, here goes the pity party.
oh boy. Are you mad at me? Do you love me?
I love you.
So my sprinkler system has never been used ever in the 15 years this house has existed. The previous owners never touched it. It's a nice system. So we've been in the house for about a year now, and I'm like, man, the yard's starting to look dry and dead and all that crap. So I'm like, we got to get this thing going. So finding all these valves and all the sprinkler heads, they're all buried like it's some sort of like King Tut's tomb type.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a company come out and say, all right, fix this. And so about 5 days, this has been going on, coming in and out and back. So they've got to do some wiring to connect to the valves that open up the water and do all that. So the wiring goes into the side of my house where all the wires come in, the cable, the internet, the main power supply. So Jackhole takes a shovel and starts digging for the irrigation wires, cuts our internet cable clean in half. So that storm that hit us on Sunday that you were talking about, I guess set Spectrum back a bunch with a bunch of service calls.
Yep.
So they're like, all right, this is Monday morning. This dude does this at 8:30 in the morning. Spectrum says we can't get out there till at least Wednesday. So you're not going to have internet for basically 3 days, 2.5, 3 days.
Travis.
So we got kids in the house here who are doing virtual school. Mary does the working from home remotely. I've got my thing with my stocks and all that crap. So first world problem, not having internet for 3 days is huge. I can't
Mega
watch
problem.
Hulu. Can't watch any of my Apple TV. It was hard. You want to talk
Don't
about
tell the Chinese
hardship
that.
in America?
Don't tell the Chinese that.
But it's one of those things where you go, all right, yeah, it's a stupid, petty first world problem. I've got data plan on my phone and all that. I lost a couple $1,000s because I wasn't able to trade effectively. But when you look at it and you're like, man, there's those little cozy comforts that we have in our lives that when you live without them for several days, it's, I won't say an eye opener, but you start to realize how much you depend on this.
Why don't you bring the kids to Starbucks all day? Just have
Mary
their
took
school
them all
there.
to her parents' house yesterday.
Why don't you go to Starbucks? You could have come over to my place and traded.
That's all it takes for Mary to leave you and take the kids is for the internet to go out.
Yeah. Well, they had to do school. That's the thing. They missed all day Monday at school because we couldn't figure out the problem was until I figured out the guy cut it.
Whoops, they cut the line again. They said it's going to be 4 days.
Every night. It's fucking cutting wires.
Definitely sounds like a topic discussion with those first world things because it has my brain like running through all of the things that you take for granted. I mean, we're not rich, we're not poor, we're middle class to lower middle class, folks that, we have stuff, we have good things, but like, I don't know, like your car, for instance. How much would your life change if you don't have a car? I mean, Boyce, yours probably wouldn't change a whole lot because you're Adolf still and you're trading stocks at home, but
I'd be healthier.
when you were working for 20 some years, how much fun is that when you don't have a car?
Yeah, imagine taking a bus. I knew people who took a bus to work. Didn't live terribly far, maybe about 15 minutes, but the routes, it would take them 2 hours to get there.
Ooh.
15 minutes is probably short, but
And people still every day take it
Yeah.
to get to work, to get home, to get to wherever. And that's, there's a certain level of respect for that. But even something like filtered water is a first world of many. Your filter dies in your fridge, or you're not in the best spot for water out of the tap, and you don't have any bottles in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I was
People
watching a
take for
documentary
Mm-hmm.
about Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico that hit, 2 years ago probably by now?
Yeah, they're still struggling.
That was 3
That was
years ago?
longer than that.
4 years
4
ago.
or 5, I thought.
People are still without power
Mhm.
or intermittent power because of that storm. And that documentary is fascinating because people know that from this hour to this hour, we're going to have power, and it cuts off at a certain time. Like, I guess they designated it to help disperse it. But
Yeah.
it's insane. Just washing your clothes by hand and all the things that come with it. Kids trying to do their homework and missing out on their education because they don't have the light to see to do their work. It's crazy.
But they're technically part of the U.S., right?
Yeah, that was the biggest
they're
gripe about
protected
the
under
documentary.
US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Texas still has problems with that too after that winter storm. I was
Yeah.
reading some people
Called
without
Ted
power.
Cruz.
Let's hop on a plane and go on vacation.
Teddy
Right,
Teddy.
Right?
Yeah.
He sent his family on there, and yeah, he got
Not the best move there, Teddy.
no.
That's it. Like, a washer and dryer. How long before that annoys you? But people do it still. They go to a laundry mat and they do those type of things. But even more
Or you just take it
specific,
apart.
you could.
My washing machine died, I want to say 7-8 years ago. And I'm like, what the f-? So I hauled it in my garage and I took the entire thing apart.
Well done.
Every piece was there. I found a broken
Steve.
relay switch, replaced the switch, and put it all back together.
How did you know to do that? Did you YouTube
did.
it? Did you Google it? You just took
No.
it apart and did
I
it?
just took it apart, yeah.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
you're a man. That's
Shit.
fantastic.
We
I
relied on
resorted
pictures of
to YouTube and looked at my boy Steve. Steve's like mid 50s, nice set of khakis, shirt tucked in, nice belt, nice like not work boots, but like a work boot loafer type. Man, Steve taught me a lot. Steve taught me the essence of fixing the dryer.
Yeah, it's a YouTube channel.
Yes. Oh,
Steve was the best, dude. He was
Just
the fucking
Steve.
best.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but Steve, man, that man opened up a lot of hearts and minds with his video on how to replace a heating element in an LG dryer.
There's a lot of good videos like that out there. I got sucked into one that was like 3 videos of like 45 minutes each of this guy building a deck in his backyard by himself. And I just watched the entire thing. I'm like, I'm not going to build a deck, but I'm fascinated by how this one dude did it all.
It's just good to know.
Yeah.
But I'll send you the video of Steve, and
Yeah, you gotta find it.
it was like an 8-minute video, but I mean, it took Ferris and I probably about an hour and a half to do the entire project. But I'll be damned, after every step, we gave Steve some credit. Just yelled Steve.
Every bolt, everything. Because I called Phil to have him, because I've never taken apart a dryer before, and a dryer is not necessarily something that I want to up.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of heat and power going to that. You that up, you up your house. Not something that I really want to do. So I was like, hey man, I just need this extra set of eyes. Like, I don't need to necessarily lift anything or help unscrew or anything. I just need an extra set of eyes to watch this YouTube channel to make sure I'm not doing something wrong. And honestly, you could do it by yourself, because Steve walks you through not almost every nut and bolt that it to the T on how to take this thing apart, replace the heating element, and put it back together. And you're just like, oh my God, I just saved myself $600. I fucking love Steve.
There's a YouTube channel called I Like to Make Stuff. You got to check that out. This guy does things that are just unreal. Fixes things, makes things like in his kid's bedroom. He's like, this closet's too small, so I'm going to bust out this wall and make this huge expansion to it. The guy's brilliant. It's really cool to watch.
That's why Yeah, that is your dad. But that's why all those shows are so big. Those DIY home shows, home renovation show, cabin hunters, and all that other nonsense is people. It's fascinating to watch people do stuff that you don't usually do or haven't done or you want to learn about.
Yeah, that's partially why I know so much, is because my pop is exactly like that. I mean, I went over to the house the other day, and it's a fucking massive tree house in the backyard connected to some pine trees with these big ass bolts going through trees. And then the next time I go over, he built a zip line for my nephew. Like,
Built that for you.
He did
built
have me
you that
try it, and
treehouse.
I may have cussed. And
I didn't get that when I was a kid. Damn it.
he did. No, he did not build. Maybe he built it. He did build it himself back when I was a kid at like my older house. But he's always been one to like blow things out. I mean, upgrade everything, and I learned a lot over the years from that.
But also, you say, you know, as a kid, I mean, I know this is true for Boyce and I don't know about Phil, but there was no cell phones when we were kids. There was barely like cordless phones. Like you wanted to hang out with a friend, you didn't send them a text and go down to Starbucks. You found their house number, called their house, made sure they were home, and said, "Hey, do you want to come over? Can your mom bring you? Or can you come over? Yeah, I'll meet you there." Blah 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 blah. Then there was no like on the way. Let me send somebody a text or a phone call.
True.
That's something that I think we all absolutely take for granted, is the power to communicate at like as fast as can be and on the go.
Think about GPS. Back in the day when they had MapQuest and you had to print out
Yep.
the directions.
Oh,
but even
absolutely.
before that, before there was any sort of internet to search that, it baffles me to think, how did you get from point A to point B, someplace you were unaware of? You'd have to, wherever you're going, you had to call them and say, all right, here's where I am. How do I get there? And you'd have to write down the directions.
Or pick
they
up a
give you.
map, like
Yeah.
a road map.
Yeah. I used to have road maps in my car.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's just all these like no internet, no car, no phone. Like you just be. I mean, you would survive. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't want to be like, you know, people do it as of now. Like it's sad that's still the case, but you would do it. But those small things that you hold in your hand every day. Imagine if that was gone,
All right,
or
so
imagine
question.
if that was attached to a line in your house, and that's the only way that you could use that.
Here's my brother. He's in Camp Lejeune right now. I can just
Atta
look
boy.
up and see exactly where he is.
Exactly, it's
It's
crazy.
insane.
So I got a question tied from last pod. If all those little luxuries went away, would Gen Z survive?
That was 2 pods ago.
Was that 2 pods ago?
I think so.
Oh, maybe.
What's
I
the
don't know.
age again
2
for
pods.
Gen Z?
23 and younger.
So we're still in people. Is my son Gen Z, this 7-year-old?
Your son would be considered Gen Z, yes.
All right, so we're still in that. When does
So-
Alpha start?
The what?
When does
Alpha?
Alpha start?
5 and below.
Has it?
I don't know.
That's a great store, by the way.
Alpha?
No,
But would they
5 and
survive?
below. My answer would be yes, but not probably why you think.
Ooh.
Yes,
Have to get
because
jobs.
well, no, they would get so annoyed that they didn't have anything that some smart mother that's like 13 years old would recreate an iPhone from like random radio parts from the 1930s.
I believe that. They're creative.
so
like they're
I-
brilliant when it comes to shit. You are correct in that.
So I think yes, they would survive.
Interesting.
Maybe. In small pockets. I mean, you got to think there's
That's
3
true.
or 4 geniuses out there to
That's true.
spread that kind of stuff wide enough to make the entire population. Yeah, they won't survive.
I'm just saying that their phone is always tied at the hip. I mean, you think the
Can't
level of
Snapchat for a day?
freak out, they can't Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, any of Facebook, post what they're doing, post what they look like, what they're wearing.
No internet connection.
That goes
no
away.
5G.
What do they do with their time?
Read a book.
Yeah, read a book.
Go outside. Play in a tree. That's what I had to do as a kid. Go play our army with yourself, or do whatever. Go out and play a sport.
Yep.
God, we sound like a bunch of old farts, but
It's
Well,
true.
you guys,
Well,
I'm young and beautiful.
People don't go outside anymore.
It is true. I don't like being alone on trails. I mean, I love going on trails and, hiking, even one that's local. But every one of that trail is probably 30 and above.
Why
Everyone.
don't
I
you
don't
like
see
going on
kids.
trails?
No, I love going on trails. I love hiking, and we got Wakiver Springs right next to us.
yeah,
and
that's fantastic.
canoeing. I love the outdoors, but again, I was a very active kid growing up, and I'd be the one floating down rivers and building tree houses, rope swings, those types of things. I was a very active kid.
So something that I can kind of tie into this with like the phones and how, what would you do for that first world problem if you didn't have it, but resorting to like going outside and whatnot. This past week, it was Ariana's birthday. So I went over to St. Augustine, but on the way back, I don't know, we like to get out and explore and just see things. And we haven't obviously had the chance to do that a whole lot within this past year because of the lockdown and whatnot. But she ended up stumbling upon this site that basically tells you of abandoned places in Florida.
Ooh,
Y'all are
spooky.
sick.
No,
Sick.
hold on. It has nothing really to do with paranormal stuff. It's just fascinating to go on this site and see some of this, because we're attuned to driving down the street and seeing houses that were probably built in the last 10 years, or houses that were built in the 80s and somebody's in that home. And if something's not being inhabited, it's torn down and something else is there instead. That's what we're used to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating topic in our eyes to see these things, and not just like an abandoned home down the street that Joe Schmo didn't pay his rent and now the bank owns it, but it's not worth doing anything to. So here's a little shack. I'm talking like there are some mansions in Florida that are abandoned. Like we went through one. There was a house in the Central Florida area that was abandoned, and it was owned by a billionaire as his summer home. It was the Mellon family. They owned some bank chains and very
Pittsburgh.
Yes,
Yeah.
Boyce, yes. Very wealthy family had built a summer home for his family and his wife, who was dealing with some disease that needed her to be in a warmer climate, and they were kind of tired of the Pittsburgh cold. Built this mansion in a neighborhood. They were there a few times a year and so on and so forth, and had some very famous people go to the house on vacation and stuff. It's not in a very popular town in Florida. It's kind of in a very small town, but nonetheless, we found out it's abandoned. Doesn't seem to be owned by anyone. Doesn't seem to be locked down by the local authorities or no trespassing. So we ended up using our phones and Google Maps and Apple Maps to basically, and you're using like pictures to pinpoint where this house was. And we found it.
Be squatters. Just take it
Your
over.
Your neighbors.
I'm sure there were squatters that have been in there, but we were able to actually access the house and go into the house. And
Really?
Like I said, we did not break any sort of laws that were visible to us. There was no trespassing. There was no boarded up stuff that we had to pry something open.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, my house here, I don't have a no trespassing sign, but that's cool. If I leave my door unlocked, please, anyone,
it's very well known that
not
This is a mansion that you can access and just get into with no problem at all.
Yes.
Wow.
The front doors, you would think would be boarded up. You could go like that. They swung open.
How are the homeless people taking advantage of this?
Oh, I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have, and people have probably. But there was nobody when we went through. But it's just fascinating to see in nowadays society in a populated residential neighborhood near a lake in this town that this I don't know. I'd have to go back and count, but this multi-room, multi-bath. There had to be like 5 bathrooms in this place. 2.5-story, 3-story house with a garage and then a room on top of it. It's abandoned.
Did you? Is it for sale?
We don't know. We because it's not owned by anyone from what we can tell. It's not owned by the bank.
You shouldn't have left. Why did you leave?
You guys have a little fun in the house?
No, hell no.
I would have taken advantage of that. What kind of story is that?
No, I don't we need to catch some like
what
Son,
like
you were
Central
conceived
Florida.
in an old mansion that was abandoned. That's a great story for a kid.
Some like Central Florida parasite that eats wood and crawls up your dick. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
This took a turn.
Yeah, it did.
It
was Boyce. Boyce had the right turn. I'm telling him
Oh,
what I think is an interesting story, but
it is.
nonetheless, it was very interesting to walk through this house that is. I mean, it's abandoned. Like but there's still remnants of like pictures and this old piano that's still in there, and
Jeez.
like it's just eerie. It's not like we didn't go in there for any paranormal thing or anything like that. It was just it's eerie to see and walk through a place like that. And
Y'all are sick.
Were there pictures of people, like actual people, or just sort of like flowers or?
no, I mean there was a picture on like a fireplace that was a parrot or something. There were stickers of like horses on the wall from what I can assume is like a child's room. There's this beautiful old grand piano that, obviously has seen better days now, but that's still there. You could tell the house was picked clean for pretty much a majority of it. But why was this stuff left behind? Why was it abandoned? What, when, where? Like, it's fascinating to see
If
this.
you went in the attic, you'd find out.
Oh,
Why didn't people left?
That was freaky. So we
How'd
walked
you
up
find it?
the site. It's abandonedflorida.com or something.
Wow.
And typed in the area that we were near, and it showed up these houses, and some of them are either stories from years ago. Like there's one actually up the road in Airmont. There was a millionaire that built up this house on top of the hill across from what I think is like a Ford dealership now. Like when you come down, you're going to Claremont, that big hill up there, which it's woods now.
It's a lovely site.
And it's all
dealerships.
Yeah. And it's all like residential stuff, but there's a pocket of forest. There was a mansion with like this castle looking wing and this plantation that was built up there. And it stood up until I think 2016, 13, I don't know, somewhere in that range, to where it was hit by lightning and burned down. So it's not there anymore.
It's a shame.
But they had pictures of whoever went through it then and said it was abandoned. And it kind of gives you a story of the place, and it's kind of all over the place. And I'm sure it's everywhere, all over but it's just interesting. And some of them are owned by folks. Some of them you can't, it's owned by the realtor. So there's obvious signs to tell you can't go into it and this sort of thing. But this house, we have no clue. We don't know if it's who it's owned by. But they weren't keeping anybody out. Like that was the case. You board up stuff. It's weird. Sorry.
With this not being a paranormal experience that you guys wanted to live out or whatever, this was just you seeing an abandoned house. If you went in that house, and if that grand piano just started playing while your asses were upstairs, would you stay or would you have investigated? Like, would you have stayed and investigate, or would you have just dipped the F out?
Oh, the first.
Both are some sick individuals. You both creep me the out, and I don't want to be your friend anymore.
If that started happening, we'd be freaked the out, but we would be intrigued. Now, here's the thing: we also did it at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If we're doing that at midnight, that's a different story. That's terrifying, and we're probably heading the hell out. But at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't know, there has to be some sort of curiosity there, like, why is this happening? And nowadays, it's, can I get that on camera?
God, if I wish Ariana would have just texted me and be like, hey, we're going to this abandoned house. I'm going to need you to Just make yourself not present, but be present enough to scare the shit out of Ferris. And damn it,
it's
missed opportunities.
We are into those shows that are on there, but this was something that I don't, because there are a lot of abandoned like old prisons and hospitals and reformatories and those type of things that these shows cover of being paranormal, and that just kind of led down the rabbit hole of, hey, do we have anything like that in Florida? Oh, there's a site called Abandoned Spots. Oh, it just, I don't know, just kind of happened. It's interesting.
Did you hit that old prison that they have out there?
Where?
It's in St. Augustine.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's towards the coast. There's this old prison that you can do a tour through, and it's just creepy as fuck.
No, we didn't do the
done that.
Oh, I haven't done that. That's interesting. You might just send me info on that. We did a ghost tour that went to 2 cemeteries and the fort, and we had our expectations set high. It did not meet those expectations. We left a little bummed, but
Did Ponce de Leon just come out of the woods and he's like, fountain of youth?
we walked in and I'm like, oh my God, that's Ponce de Leon. Oh my God, that's Christopher Columbus. They're playing cards together.
They have a lot of like well-known ghost tours in St. Augustine.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's a very popular spot, but the lighthouse, I hadn't seen anything on the prison tour. That would be fun, but because it's the oldest city in the U.S. and as they were telling us on the tour, it's seen so much death over the years between the Spanish and English fighting to when whichever one of them got there first and having to fight the Indians for the land and this, that, and the other. Like it's essentially
Native Americans.
You're correct. I apologize. Absolutely. Like the Seminole tribes and those that are indigenous to the Florida area. It almost it's not the Civil War. It's not during that time frame of period. But think about the bloodshed and the bodies that died there in the oldest city over the years, several years. Hundreds and thousands of years. There's a lot of history to it that, it's one of the most haunted towns in the U.S. You've seen it on shows. They do the ghost hunters that did the fort and the lighthouse and all of this. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of that hill in Claremont, every time I drive up that hill, I think if there's a giant tsunami, like a meteor hit the Atlantic Ocean and a tsunami was coming across the state, I drive up there. That's where I'm going.
You'd still be screwed. That's not high enough. There's no way.
It is because we're far enough inland to where it would take a catastrophic tsunami to reach where we are. But if it did, I think that elevation should be good enough.
If anything catastrophic happens to Florida, Florida's just gone.
Oh yeah, we'd be f***ed. That's when I'd buy a boat.
This place is erased on every single rising sea level map that is out there. You always just see Florida gone.
Done.
By that boat, Phil.
Now Ferris will get a canoe.
And we did a full circle from when we started the pod. That was a segmented way of doing cool of the week and meshing that with the topic of first world problems or first world amenities that we take for granted.
I think living in hurricane country, though, we're a little bit more equipped or mentally adept to think about, when a hurricane comes, all right, what are we going to do to live without power? What are we going to do if our refrigerator's gone, the toilet, fill up your bathtub with water? So I think down here, we have more of the mindset of what to do if we lose some of these first world amenities than other parts of the country don't have.
Florida people are bred better.
Yeah, said no one ever. Inbred better.
As I was trying to close up to the pod, where Boyce
go for it, please.
Boyce just opened up so many
throw a rando fucking thing out before we close up.
Cut him off. Let's go.
I wish I had the ability to mute. But thank you everyone out there for continuing to listen to the Laid Off Lads podcast. This is still, or what did I say? We're 13 episodes in, still a work in progress. We're still trying to figure this out. If there's anything, any suggestions, any feedback, any good, bad, anything that you're like, man, this sucks, but I think you guys are on to something a bit. So maybe here's what you can do to make it better. Please let us know that. We're kind of figuring this out. We're enjoying doing this, hoping that you all enjoy hearing some of our stories, talks, topics, that sort of thing. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, our website, laidofflads.com. And we're available in your ears and on your computer, TV screens if you have internet. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.
Cool.
Well said. Bravo.
Talk to you next week, everybody. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Laid Off Lads podcast. And if you're hiring, well, you know where to find us.